What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect podcast. Actually recording this episode with my camera here in this setup that I've set up for this episode. But just want to say thank you for stopping by. And, you know, this is step one of trying to take it to the next level as far as creating um, content that is useful, content that is helpful for other people as well. So I'm sure it's going to be a process to figure out as far as the editing and distribution and everything that goes into having a podcast and creating content. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because it's the first step. And one of the things that I have found in my life is that it's important to simply just put one step forward and I'll figure everything out as I go, and that's one of the things that used to hold me back a lot uh, back in the days. Me thinking that I didn't have all the answers or all the resources for me to be able to um, get started and create the things that I wanted to do. And one of the things that one of the secrets, I guess you could call it, that I have found in my life as I've gotten older is that I'm never gonna have all the answers. Um, it's always best for me to just put the wheels in motion, get my goals, write them down, but just take an action on my goals, and that's essentially what I'm doing with this. So I'm really excited and nervous and scared, and feeling all the emotions. Um, because don't get me wrong, like this isn't, I've had people reach out to me or make certain comments about how I look like a natural in front of the camera, or it just seems like it just comes so easy for me. And I mean, maybe not, but it's still it doesn't always necessarily come easy, especially when I first started out. Like being in front of the camera always, uh, it just wasn't comfortable for me. Just like public speaking, like uh, I remember in high school, I took a communications class, and I ended up dropping it because the uh, the instructor had me come up to the front of the class and give like a 1 minute presentation on myself or something, and I got so upset at him for some reason, and it wasn't even his fault, but I was like, oh, I just looked dumb in front of all these people, and it's like who cares, right? You grow out of it, you get uncomfortable. And ironic enough, in college, I uh I was a comm major, communications major, uh and I had to do like 3 or 4 speeches, big speeches. No, actually probably even more, like presentations um during my time there. But the moral of the story and my point is that it's all right to get uncomfortable. It's more than all right. It's necessary to be able to grow. And so I'm really excited about this and where this is going to take me. And I've always felt that I've had a voice, and not necessarily just for myself, right? But to be able to help other people and uplift other people, and um, share my story at the same time. But at the same time, create something that gives back to people and motivates and inspires people. And so, along the same lines with this episode, I wanted to touch on, since I'm starting to kind of take things into the next level and, you know, put some of this, podcast and video in short form and distribute it out to social media platforms. I kind of want to touch on what's what goes on in my mind, right? Like take you guys inside of the mind of somebody that is kind of doing this. And I'm sure this doesn't this is not any different from somebody who's trying something or doing something else, something different out in the real world, right? Because when you try something new, I feel like I imagine that a lot of people feel and think these same thoughts, right? Um, maybe, maybe not. I think it depends on maybe who you are, your background, or where you come from. But I have used affirmations to pretty much since I can remember to constantly help me push through new situations, new challenges, always. And aside from, or I guess opposite of affirmations, come doubt sometimes, And doubt is something that, especially when I'm trying something new, always tries to creep in. And so, even with this, like some of the doubts that I start feeling or hearing is like, who are you kidding? You know what I mean? Like, who do you think you are? And I start like also imagining like what people are going to think or say. And obviously, and I know that it doesn't matter what people think or say. And it clearly doesn't because, at the end of the day, I'm here. you know, I'm recording this episode, I'm filming it, I'm going to be distributing it, I'm going to be creating content more and more. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I'm here. My why and the reason why I'm doing this far outweighs anything else. And the vision that I have for my life and what I want, I know requires certain things. And so, because that desire for that type of life is what it is, I do not mind doing what I have to do to be able to get to that point. And so, however, at the same time, one of the ways that my mind kind of works sometimes is like, you know, I know that these are things that are going to pop up in people's minds. Like, who does he think he is? Who does he think he is? What is he trying to do? It's like all these things. And if you let it, because people, what I have found out is that you have two different types of people. You have people that are abundant thinking and people that are afraid and thinking scarcity, thinking lack. And I know that because I've been that scarcity minded person, based on how I grew up and how my family grew up. So I know the type of thoughts that come with that type of mindset and mentality. And so, you know, based on that, I'm able to know, the thoughts and the things that kind of come up in people's minds. And so the point of this episode is obviously to say that it doesn't matter, right? But also to show that, first and foremost, I'm not trying to act any like an influencer. I'm not trying to act like anything bigger than what I am, I'm also not trying to diminish myself. I'm not trying to dim my light. I think that there's a fine balance to maintain. There's a fine balance to maintain. Um especially with somebody like myself who is out in the public eye and is out there and wants and or needs to be out there for the vision that I have. One of the things that I've thought about recently is that I have to, in order to really break through what I want to break through and accomplish, my biggest challenge now is really stepping out and fully being and fully just being out there and being okay and understanding that there's going to be people that get inspired by it, and there's going to be people that get offended by it. And that just is what it is. That is a part of growth. That is a part of getting to the next level. Based on my vision cannot truly, I believe that my vision cannot be accomplished. My vision cannot become what I want it to be, what I see it to be, if I keep doing the things that I've been doing. And every time that I've leveled up and gone to a different level, it has required me to become a new person, a new version, or do something different than what I've always done. And I've touched on a couple of things I feel like already with this episode, but one of the things I want to go back to is the tendency that some of us have to dim our light, to diminish who we are because of the backlash that is going to come with that, because of your imposter syndrome, because of your belief that you are being a hypocrite, because of people just flat out criticism. And sometimes, usually, it's unfair and unjust. I earlier I mentioned that, I don't want to come off as anything bigger than what I am. I don't. And that's such a tough balance to maintain. But at the same time, you and I have to understand that we have gifts, we have abilities, we have talents, we have things that we're good at, we have things that if we share with the world will make the world a better place. And what better purpose and what better mission and way to live our life than to be fully who we are, be fully who we are. Not everybody is going to like it, but not everybody's meant to like it. And that's the beautiful thing about this world, is that you have a little bit of everything for everybody. We cannot expect for everyone to vibe with who we are. We just can't expect that. You know what I mean? And so I think just as important as it is important to not want to, and I do see that. I sense that a lot. I feel like these days where there's a lot of there's a lot of, you know, people acting grandiose, big, and that doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me because that inspires me, that motivates me. I don't, like I said, I think that every abundant thinker sees things like that, and it motivates them, and it inspires them to become all that they can be, right? And that's just an example of, yeah, not dimming your light, not, you know, diminishing who you are, not becoming, smaller than what you are. And I think that for me, that's one of the things that I've kind of messed up on. You know what I mean? That I got to a certain point in life where I just to not, because I'm the type of person I like to poke at people sometimes. I like to poke at things. I like to be the devil's advocate. I like to question things. I like to, especially when I feel like they're not, you know, um, they're not right. They're not, or something could be better. Something could be better. You know, and that's really how who I am. And so I feel like I got to a point to where I just stopped doing that, and I kind of like just go about my business, which there's nothing wrong with that either. I really don't mind going about my business. Um, I I'd rather if I didn't have to do this podcast, if I felt like I didn't have to, I probably wouldn't. But at the same time, it's this conflict, it's this inner conflict because I know that I have the ability to inspire, I have the ability to motivate, I have the ability based on my story, what I've had to go through to get to where I'm at and what I'm still, fighting through. I have that sense of just that this is what I have to do. So it's like it's an inner conflict, but at the end of the day, my goal is to motivate and inspire those that are just going through tough times internally, within their families, within their culture, just whatever, because I've always felt like since I was a kid, I always felt like I could do great things. I always felt like I can accomplish great things. And by my own right, I feel like I have. And there's so much more yet to accomplish and explore and do. And so that's what motivates me. That's what inspires me. And so, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do to people. And so this is just the first step or one of the first steps I feel like to be able to do that and utilize my voice, which is something that I haven't used to my full potential in my life. And so this is very exciting for me. And, we'll see how far this goes or how far it doesn't go. It really doesn't matter too much. What matters most is be able to grow within it and impact people through it. So that's really important for me. So yeah, um, I think that's all I had today. Thank you all for hopping on to the Halo Effect podcast. This is episode 30. Um, be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, make sure to follow me if you found this episode um, useful and helpful. Be sure to share it with somebody else. Besides that, thank you all for hopping on, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.